Who's she getting first?
Is she doing anything?
Go to which team you go to first. All right, you guys ready? Yep. Welcome in to Chapman Stadium here in Orange, California. We're here for the SLC Division II Championship game between Concordia University and Cal State Fullerton. I'm Trey Lanthier alongside Chris Marshall, and we've got our Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley down low to give reports as well for what could be a huge matchup, one that has national implications.
Absolutely. I mean, this is for the automatic qualifier from the SLC. And both these teams definitely want to be represented at the tournament in Irvine, as well as right here in Ernie Chapman Stadium. These are two teams who have split their last 12 encounters at an even 6-6. Combined 32 games this season for these two teams, one loss. Fullerton's only loss coming at the hands of Concordia.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the games these two teams have played in so far, and clearly these are two contenders in the MCLA entirely, at number 10 for Cal State Fullerton, number 2 for Concordia.
Yeah, and I think Concordia is a legit contender for the national championship as well. And I think Fullerton showed us a lot yesterday. I mean, certainly a much improved team to the team that we saw earlier this season.
And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, assuming that Concordia will be in the tournament either way, how deep that they can go. But for Cal State Fullerton, they're on that bubble. Today's game is huge for them. Playing it close would do them a lot of favors in the selection committee's eyes. Winning it, obviously, getting that AQ is the crown goal, though.
Yeah, I think that they put themselves in a good position with how strong they looked yesterday. I mean, they put up a lot of goals against Northern Arizona. I mean, Northern Arizona, obviously, after yesterday coming in at 7-8, isn't a top level Division II team. But part of the thing that makes good teams good is the fact that they can go out and win the games that they need to win. And Fullerton has gone out all season and won the games that they're supposed to win. And I think that they're in the 10th spot now. And I mean, I feel like they're a tournament team.
Yeah, based on what we've seen them all year long, I mean, this is a team with a lot of talent on its roster, a lot of young talent. Micah Willis has been a standout freshman, one of the most talented freshmen in the country so far this season, and that's following up last year when they had Alice Kowalski, doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, and Kowalski's another one of those guys. I mean, he absolutely crushed it yesterday. He's got a huge lefty rip. But he also can go right, and he's one of those guys, big athletic kid. He can cut through the defense and beat you on the dodge or with the feed.
Well, and he's also a captain as a sophomore, which is a testament to his leadership. And I think that's a big element of this Fullerton team. They play very good team lacrosse. But we're going to go down to the sideline with head coach Ryan Brent and Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley. Margot?
All right, Coach, you played less than 24 hours ago. How are your boys feeling right now?
We feel great. We're prepared for this. Our schedule throughout the year, we purposely stacked games back to back, in anticipation for times like this, times like the national tournament. So, we're prepared, we're conditioned, and we're ready to go.
You're playing a Fullerton side who has a lot of experience winning this tournament, but you guys have won 2 years in a row. What can you do today to get the three-peat?
We just have to go out here and play our game. We kind of got knocked off off what we do well yesterday. I don't anticipate that happening today. We're very prepared for this team. We've played them once already. Lots of scout, lots of film. So we already know what they want to do, and they know what we want to do. We're just going to go out there and execute better than they are.
All right, good luck today, Coach.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Back to you, Trey and Chris.
So you heard it from Ryan Brent. They're prepared. They're ready to go. This is a team that's had success as in recent years, but Cal State Fullerton on a tear this year. I mean, the only loss they have is to this Concordia team. I would be very surprised if this wasn't a battle on the field. And we're now going to get an interview with Mike Ansel, the head coach at Cal State Fullerton. We've got Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley standing by.
All right, you guys fell to this side earlier this season. What adjustments do you have to make today to get the win?
We actually got a couple players back that we didn't have in that game. So did they actually. So, just go out there and hustle. They are a very transition team. They're a great team. They're well coached. Just go out there and play our game. Hopefully we can come out the win.
All right, looking ahead to the MCLA, how huge would it be to get a win today, win this tournament, and go into the MCLA tournament with that win in your pocket?
Huge. Yeah, absolutely huge. Going in there with that momentum could just do wonders for this program. So, that's what we're out here to do today.
All right, looks like we're about to start. Thanks, Coach. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
And both these coaches, I think, talked about execution and doing the little things and how big this victory would be for these programs. And you get these two teams coming in, both having played 16 games on the season. Cal State Fullerton scored 269 goals. That's coming in at 16.8 a game. Concordia scored 280 goals. That's 17.5 a game. I fully expect this to be a shootout.
Yeah, and I mean, both of these offenses have proven that they can do damage against any defensive set you look at. And I mean, we saw this yesterday. UC San Diego threw a very interesting set at Concordia. And while, yes, you could say, they only put up 12 goals on the board, UC San Diego was controlling time of possession. I would say it was probably 65-35 in favor of the Tritons. A quick shot taken on to start this game off, and this rebound is picked up and put in. I believe that was Destin Seguin who got up in front of the cage, scooped up the GB, and put it right back in.
Yeah, and that's the thing that makes Concordia so dangerous. They just anything that pops out, they can go and put in the back of the net, and it's really impressive. I mean, just watching in warm-ups. I saw a tip pass that one of their attackmen threw a quick stick behind the back from, and they're ready to go every single time. It looks like there's a flag down on the field. Have to see what the call is on this one.
Right here. White. One. Unsportsmanlike. 1 minute. Locked in. White. I don't know what he said, Coach. I have no idea. White.
There you have it. It's the officials setting the tone early. Not gonna let the players talk to him. And this is something that we've seen be a problem for Concordia in the past. They had, I believe, 11 flags called on them yesterday. And this is a Fullerton team with enough firepower where they're really going to hurt them.
Yeah, exactly. This is not UC San Diego where the man-up unit is going to fail each and every time out on the field. This is a Cal State Fullerton team that's been putting up a lot of goals this season, and they're very well coached, and they're prepared for situations like these. So expect them to take advantage of the man-up. And we're actually getting a discussion between Coach Brent and the officials right now. Clearly not happy to see a guy taking a knee in the first minute of this game.
Well, and it has to be something that's just mental. I mean, he must have been taunting or yelling at the official, and I know the head official Biskowski isn't gonna take any of that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the usual. See that in the first minute of the game. Usually, that's something that comes with the wear and tear of things. But there's no love lost between these two. This is a rivalry in the purest sense.
Yeah, no, these guys hate each other. And I mean that's just kind of what comes with the territory. You get two teams that are pretty much competing for the SLC championship every season in the tournament. Like I said, they're 6-6 in their last 12 games, and Concordia's had their number the last 2 seasons. But Fullerton is a team that's fully capable of beating them and has complete belief. And just going off the game yesterday, they've got the blueprint. And that's important. Well, we're going to send it down to Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley.
All right, guys, right there, a little bit of emotions running high. I listened in on the Concordia huddle, and Coach said, guys, it's okay. I know we've got a lot of emotions coming out early. There's a lot of energy, but one thing we need to do is not speak to the refs, no matter what is said to you. If we do that, we're going to get penalties, and we cannot have that happen today. Back to you, Chris and Trey.
So there you have it. Clearly, a little bit of frustration of the early going, chattering with the refs, and it's a no-fly for Coach Brent, given the fact that Fullerton is a capable team on its man up.
Well, yeah, and then that's Robert Romero. He's a junior captain. I mean, he knows better. I don't expect that that's going to be a mistake that he's going to make again today. But one thing to think about is now, Fullerton from yesterday has the blueprint as Kowalski comes up with the ground ball, but a lot of white shirts in there, dropping some serious lumber.
Yeah, this one's finally scooped up by Kowalski on the far side. Still time in this penalty. Cole from deep takes the shot. That an easy save for Cole. And sometimes those hip saves can be the hardest ones to make. But Cook clearly in the right position.
I'd really like to see them reset. I mean, they got into a little bit of an unsettle, and I felt like Cole rushed that shot a little bit. They still had another 30 seconds on the penalty. They have time to reset, send it around, and get the shot that they drew up. As now we're back to full strength. But you're just not going to beat Cook from 12 yards out, even if you are Cole there, who's got a fantastic shot.
Yeah, and Cook named the player of the game in yesterday's semifinal after fielding a shutout. And that's something not many goalies get to say they've done before. And that's actually his second shutout of this season.
I mean, like I mentioned yesterday, I've never seen or been a part of a shutout as a player, coach, or broadcaster. So it's a pretty special moment, not only for the goalie but for the defense. And
Seguin does it again. Just that underhand, almost bowling shot that he pulls off to put Concordia up 2-0 with 12:45 on the clock. And that penalty seems pretty far away right about now.
Yeah, and they showed us yesterday that their defense is gonna hold strong. I mean, San Diego, a far cry of the offensive firepower that you're going to get from Cal State Fullerton. They've got a lot of guys who can hurt you one-on-one and shoot from outside. But you know, if you go 10 for 10 on man down opportunities, then you're doing something right. There's another face-off win for Concordia.
And we've only really seen Fullerton with possession on that man-up opportunity they had. This is a Concordia team that you can't allow to start controlling the pace of the game, because once they do that, it can get dangerous fast, given how many talented players they've got in the field.
And this is going to be a matchup to watch all day long. You see Seguin, he takes his man back behind the cage. He's one of those guys that can play the two-man game. Nobody does it better than Concordia, and nearly getting another shot off there. But Concordia going against Taylor Johnson, the freshman. I mean, that's a pretty tall order if you're Cal State Fullerton, leaving a freshman on one of the top attackmen in the country.
So Concordia drawing out this possession a little bit. 11:35 on the clock here in the first quarter. A man gets open inside. This one stuffed. Lorino stood his ground and was able to come up with the stop.
And Lorino's going to have a huge game today. And we just haven't seen it. This is a good opportunity.
And what a pass from Simpson across the way to a man cutting inside. It was Micah Willis who was able to put that one past Cook. And there was nothing that Cook could have done there. That's textbook transition. You have two guys on the opposite side, fake the shot, then pass it over. Willis was waiting for it, knew it was coming.
I mean, that's just three perfect passes. I mean, you get the ball up to Simpson. Simpson shows his speed and gets inside. Gets a 2-on-1 situation, then gets Micah cutting in, and he puts himself in a good position by coming down the center of the field. And like you said, Cook can't do anything about that. You're inside, throws a little shoulder fake, and then it's in the back of the net.
And Concordia having some early success on the face-offs, and that'll be an interesting thing to watch as this game develops, just given how well both of these teams can do when they have possession. And just a reminder, we are a fully interactive broadcast. You can tweet in at us, at Trey Lanthier, at CMarshallTLN. We love to hear your questions. We talk about pretty much anything during the course of these broadcasts, but if you have questions about the game, about these teams, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'll give any shout-outs you want to give as well.
Yeah, and definitely, keep those lacrosse questions coming. Keep anything you got. I mean, Trey Lanthier is quite the fashion expert, too. So if you have any questions about that, go ahead and fire away.
That's funny. That's funny.
Thank you.
I'm not the most fashionable person. As inside, a shot taken and that one came from Bernad.
That's a good position save. Lorena never saw it, hit him in the chest, but you got to put yourself in a position to succeed, and that's exactly what Lorena was doing. There's Kowalski showing off his body as he gets pushed down. But he's a guy who can fight through two players like that a lot of times, just got hung up.
And something we've seen from this Concordia ride is they are aggressive. You're going to take a lot of bodies, but you can burn past them, as we're seeing right here. Cole thought about making a move toward the cage, but instead he's going to pull it back out. But that's one of the things about having such an aggressive ride is that if the clear can get through it, there's going to be some open field.
I mean, Concordia is aggressive everywhere on the field, and that's why they get a lot of penalties. And I think that's got to be part of the strategy for Fullerton. Looks like Coach Ansel wants to talk about it, but if you hold the ball in possession, you're going to draw penalties. And I think Fullerton yesterday looked like they were trying to employ a little bit of a longer stretch of possession against Northern Arizona, and I think that was definitely for what they were trying to do today.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot to look at from both of these teams over the course of this game. As Concordia, Cal State Fullerton, both, we mentioned, top 10 teams in the MCLA, both vying for MCLA tournament bids. It's possible to see them both in that field, and maybe even likely, but clearly the result of this game is going to mean a lot when it comes to that particular selection process. So with 9:26 on the clock in the first quarter, it's a 2-1 lead for Concordia, but it's Fullerton who's kind of had some life. We've seen some great Loreno saves on one end, and we've seen some quality transition moves from Cal State Fullerton. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out of this timeout and tied it up.
Yeah, I mean they certainly have the firepower. So I mean we're gonna send it down to Margot, who's listening in on the Fullerton, see if we can get a little bit more inside.
All right, guys, right there listening in, Fullerton called the timeout. He pulled his offense over and said, "Guys, all right, you saw what happened the first time we got the ball. We got into our offense, and they came out immediately and pressed us. That's what they're going to continue to do, and we have to try to beat that." I hope I didn't just give some insight to a couple of the Concordia players walking by, but that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to beat that high press defense that Concordia is putting on them and get a few more goals here before we get to the end of this quarter, so maybe they can be up going into the break. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
You know, even if that insight had been taken by Concordia, I don't think they would change their style. This is the way they've been playing all year, and it's paid off in big dividends for them.
Well, these guys don't need Margot to tell them that the offense is trying to beat the defense. And that's basically what it comes down to. Concordia is going to continue to play their game. Fullerton's going to continue to play their game, and we'll just see what coach has the best strategy for today. But again, keep those tweets coming at you. We love to hear from you guys, where you're watching from, who you're watching for, any predictions for this game, the game this afternoon, Grand Canyon, Arizona State, which I know I'm really excited for, as well as the tournament. I mean, you have a who's in, who's out for the tournament. Let us know.
A bounce shot taken, but this one is backed up. However, Willis almost lost control of it. That would have been a pretty costly turnover if it was going back Fuller or back Concordia's way.
That one still, even if it had hit Micah's stick, since it was a shot, had it gone out of bounds, it still would have stayed with Fullerton. So that's certainly something good. But you can't ask for a much better day for lacrosse. I mean, this is just perfect. I mean, it's a couple clouds in the sky, 70 degrees. I mean, this is why we're here.
Well, this is a big reason that this is a host site for the semifinals and nationals of the tournament. And right down the street is UC Irvine with the host site for the first and second round of the national tournament. Teams want to come out here. Teams want to play in this type of weather. It's a beautiful time of year to be playing lacrosse as this pass sails high, and it's picked up by Seguin. He's got some space to work with. He's going to keep it himself. He passes it off up the middle. The shot misses the mark. That one coming from Bernad.
Off the pipe. And then Fagan trying to take advantage of that quick whistle. Nearly got beat to the end line, but the official's going to bring him back, and the fans weren't too happy about that. But it's certainly nice anytime I get to come back to Ernie Chapman Stadium. This is one of the best facilities that you can come to, and it's a real luxury for us to be able to broadcast from here. It's a lot of fun.
7:25 on the clock. Concordia with possession, trying to make it a 2-goal lead once more. This bounce coming from outside from Seguin, however, ends up on the ground.
It's going to be a push going against Fullerton. And that's a tough break because Loreno had possession there in the crease. And this gives Concordia another opportunity.
Bernard rolls around, decides for the pass. Instead, this shot gets past Loreno, and it bounces in. That one coming courtesy from Sean Wilson, the sophomore midi out of Peninsula High School.
And that's one of the toughest things to swallow if you're a goalie. You get up there, you make a great reaction move, you get your stick on the ball, and then it just trickles in behind you. That's got to have a short memory, if you're Loreno, because you made a good step, you got your stick on the ball, you just didn't quite win that one battle. But playing well so far, they got to make sure that they keep rolling and stick with their game plan if they want to stay in this game.
We have a tweet coming in from Wookie124. Do you think SDSU will make the Nationals? What are your overall views of their chances? And that's obviously a Division I question, but still obviously pertinent to the SLC. San Diego State lost in the semifinals against Grand Canyon a couple days ago. And, a lot of people now are asking what will become of them in the tournament field. As they've been ranked in the top 10.
I think they deserve to go. I think Sonoma State losing to Stanford helped them out a lot.
I agree.
They were a bubble team. It looks like Cal Poly's probably going to come out of the WCLL. I mean, unless Stanford wins, and that would hurt San Diego State's chances. I think everything goes chalk in the conference tournament. San Diego State is definitely in.
Well, yeah, and you also have to imagine that Colorado State loss to Colorado in the first round of the RMLC tournament could put Colorado State behind SDSU as well. So I would say there's at least a little bit of a cushion for SDSU to be working with. I would be surprised to see them on the outside looking in, barring any crazy upsets in conference tournaments.
I mean, if they get in, I think they're a top 10 seed. It's just like you gotta see. I mean, for me, they passed the smell test. And that's kind of what it comes down to. They feel like a tournament team. When you watch them, they look like a tournament team. And it's just going to come down to those last few spots on what the selection committee goes through. And it's tough. You get a team like Colorado State, and they went out and lost 8 games and got smoked by Colorado in the conference tournament. And I think they really needed that game to be close. They played them to an overtime game earlier, but They also beat Chapman, and they have to play Colorado twice, and BYU and Westminster, and they played Chapman, and I think Arizona State as well. And you got to look at the losses, the quality losses, if you can even call them that. And it's so hard to leave a team like Colorado State out because they have the talent to win. I mean, they could come in as a 13 seed and win the tournament. It's been that kind of year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot still to be decided in that field, and you mentioned quality losses. There's also bad losses that can hurt teams down the stretch. I mean, Colorado State has that loss to Davenport from earlier in the year, and that one can't be easily forgotten either. So a lot to be broken down. As far as SDSU's chances, I would say 85-15 chance that they're in as opposed to being out.
Good to quite good.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
And we got another tweet coming in. This was from Rich Morrison. Big shout out to Max Thielen on Cal State Fullerton, starting his ordination to become a rabbi. Stoked for you. So congratulations to Max Thielen. I mean, that's the one thing. It's important to remember. I mean, all these guys are student athletes, and it's always fun to hear some of the stories about what these kids go on to accomplish and what they're doing off the field. And it's really fun for us to hear about that sort of thing. So thanks, Rich. It was a great save by Cook. Concordia gets it going the other way.
And this first quarter is slowly starting to wind down to its ending stages as we're at the 4-minute mark. Concordia still with that 3-1 lead, but the pace has slowed down considerably from the early goings.
I mean, I just don't think that this is the strategy that Cal State Fullerton was trying to use. It seems like maybe they've gotten a little jittery And you have to think that they wanted to go out there and hold possession, and they just haven't been able to do it so far. Got that War Machine Razor call.
And an opening lane, but the shot a bit too off the mark. So Concordia's offense has been getting looks, but they haven't been quite the same as the quality looks. But this one might be a chance here. It gets through.
That's a great finish, and he draws the flag. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see coming in from Cameron Rayner, one of the 4 or 5 graduate students here on this Concordia roster.
Yeah, and an excellent finish to still get that shot off despite taking a shove.
And it's going to be a push, so it's going to get waved off with the goal. But I mean, any way you slice it, it's still a successful dodge. And I mean, some of the times you're going to get a slash or something that's gonna stick, and that's definitely what they're looking to. But I think what made that play for Concordia was, in the corner when they got that ground ball, there were 4 white shirts around that ground ball. Kowalski, the only player for Fullerton that was out there, and then they were able to get in the unsettled situation. But Concordia's got to win the ground ball game, as right now they're digging themselves a hole.
So after another face-off win, I'm not sure that we've seen Fullerton win a face-off yet. Concordia sets up on offense again and looking to kind of take command on the scoreboard as we're at the 2:40 mark in this first quarter. Still plenty of action left till halftime, but you can tell Concordia is starting to get some momentum. We'll see if Cal State Fullerton can answer with something on the defensive side. As type of play that you want is a forced turnover, and they just got one. So they'll head back the other direction. Let's see if they can break through the Concordia ride.
And that was a great individual effort from Kowalski, and you can tell why he's a sophomore as just a captain. He went out there and was able to knock the ball out of the offensive player's stick as a shorty, and then deke the ball back to himself between 2 Concordia players and give his team an opportunity as Thalen picked up that ball. It seems like Fullerton's trying to slow it down here a little bit.
Yeah, Kowalski just holding on to this one and letting some time run off. I don't know if they'll hold for the final shot here. They've got 1:20 on the clock before the end of this first quarter.
Certainly a favorable matchup for them, though. Kowalski with the short end. You see how quickly they're going to slide as Matranga comes across.
And now Cole with the pass up the middle is ambitious, ends up on the ground, but picked up by Thielen. Now on the far side, a high-to-low rip is saved easily by Cook. And now Concordia is going to have some time to work with at the end of this quarter as they are flying in transition. And they come up with a goal. Logan Warren found a man inside.
It's Matranga. Matranga was really good yesterday. I mean, he's hitting his stride at the right point. And I think it's important, you get guys. I mean, obviously he's a guy who had 47 points coming into today, pretty evenly distributed, 25 and 22. But he's looking really sharp, and that's bad news for Fullerton.
So with 51 seconds left in this first quarter, Concordia has a 5-1 lead. A commanding mark if they're able to keep at this pace, but look for Fullerton to try and come up with an answer, and it starts at the face-off X. They have not yet had much success in the face-off X as another GB is won to the Eagles. And quickly in transition, they score again! And it's waved off as the GB is picked right back up for Concordia. Now back with Fullerton. A crazy sequence of events after that no goal. And so now we're seeing Fullerton with numbers on the other end. An ambitious pass across the crease is going to hurt. However, a hustle play to keep it in bounds on the sideline. We've got 12 seconds to work with here. A low bouncer from Simpson heads out. No one backing it up. And Concordia is going to take over with 9 seconds left in the quarter.
Yeah, on the far side of the field, it looked like Loreno just got a little jumpy, came out, and Fagan taking advantage as he took the ball from Loreno.
And so that will bring the quarter to a close, but an exciting final minute of the quarter as we saw a goal waved off at one end, a transition chance at the other, and it ends up coming down to stay at a 5-1 score at the end of the first. And we're going to take it to a break. When we come back, we'll have a sideline report and the second quarter of action. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the SLC Division II Championship game.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back into Chapman Stadium. We're going to go down to the sideline for sideline reporter, Under Armour sideline reporter, Margot McCauley.
All right, guys, Concordia with a comfortable lead right now at the break, listening into their huddle. Their coach is fired up. He said, guys, we need to keep doing what we're doing. If we get 3 more goals in this period, we put this game away. We need to keep them out of our goal and make sure we stay up and give us a comfortable lead going into the half. We don't want to have a dogfight in this second half, guys. So look for them to get a couple more points on the board in this quarter going into the half. Tweet me your players of the game, guys, at Margot McCauley. I want to get a couple of them for a post-game interview. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
Yeah, and not wanting it to become a dogfight is a pretty hard to meet prerequisite here, because this has been a dogfight game for, throughout its history. It's just a way that it turns out. It's hard to see it not going that way. They're bitter rivals. Concordia is a team that can get under your skin, and Fullerton has enough finesse to try and respond to that. But as Margot said, make sure to tweet your player of the game votes into her at Margot McCauley. They get a free shirt, so whoever you tweet for is in luck. As finally a face-off win for Fullerton, and it looks like there's a bit of confusion as far as which way they were supposed to be heading off the bat, but now they've got a long pole moving in transition. The shot comes. Cody Cook may have gotten a piece of that one.
Definitely. That's a good save. Steps to it, cuts down the angle, makes a good body save. Another tweet coming in from Seymour Cup. It's Cody Cook, Fagan, Desi Seguin are the box looks coaches in SoCal for Victory Lax. It's Canadians are the best, so definitely some of those guys sharing the wealth. A lot of those players go up north in the summer and keep playing box. Quick
Simpson,
slide again.
And Simpson meeting a lot of defenders on his way, trying to find a lane. Now Cole has it. He makes a nice spin to get open, goes high, and gets that one past Cook. That was pretty impressive. He had to jump up over his defender and come down very hard to nail that bounce home. And Cal State Fullerton gets on the board first here in the second quarter.
And that's a great lacrosse play. He rolls back to his left hand and then bounces that one from about 8 yards and just goes right into the top corner. It's just a perfect shot. I mean, he goes in there. He didn't need to put a whole lot on it. Cook just couldn't get to it as he changed the plane. I mean, that's how you get those shots to go in that don't necessarily have the most juice on them. You change the plane and you make sure that you make the goalie have to make a save.
So a score update coming from the GRLC as Missouri Valley leading Missouri Baptist 10-0 in that championship game. Missouri Valley has had an excellent run this year, and we could very well see a team like Cal State Fullerton matched up against a 3 or 4 seed Missouri Valley in the first round of the MCLA tournament. Nearing the 13-minute mark in this second quarter. 5-2 lead for Concordia, but it's Fullerton who struck last. Cole from behind the net.
A lot of pressure with the shorty up top on Kowalski. Man, looks like they're almost trying to shut him off adjacent.
Just a reminder to tweet in at us, at Trey Lanthier, at C Marshall TLN, all your player of the game votes. Tweet those at Margot McCauley. It can be anyone on the field, preferably someone who is deserving of a player of the game t-shirt, because that's what we get at the end of the game. And you get to see an interview with them. So make sure to tweet in at Margot McCauley your votes for the SLC D2 Championship Player of the Game.
Really selling that there, Trey.
Yeah, no, I know. You've got to make sure, because I know Margot doesn't want to make that decision by herself. Nobody wants to make decisions by themselves. And
give the power to the people, Trey. That's
there
what
you
they
go.
want.
The people's elbow. That's what I call it.
Nobody calls it that.
Behind the net, it's Bernay.
And watch next time they get a Fullerton possession. There's a nice low-to-low shot. That was a very close call, as Silverberg has his stick out just a little bit further than the Concordia attackman down there. And great pass by Loreno up to Thielen.
So Fullerton going to get set up again on their offensive side. This is a big possession for them at the 11-minute point in this second quarter. A big chance to cut this lead down to 2 and really capitalize on the momentum they've had lately on the defensive side. They've been getting stops against this Concordia offense. Now it's time to convert that in your set offense.
And watch when there's 3 guys right now for Fullerton. It's Cole and Michael Willis and Alex Kowalski. Every time the ball's adjacent, the defender pushes out on them. So you watch there up at the top. You see Robert Romero. As soon as it looks like they might go to Cole, runs out, and it's the same down low for Jake Pence when Michael Willis is in the mix. So look at how close he gets to him, trying to pick that ball off, and it's causing just a little pressure, and that's probably what made Micah drop that pass. But a lot of pressure, especially on those 3 players.
Now the pass inside. Somehow Kowalski got the shot off. I'm not sure if that was sticked out of it. Like, it didn't look like he had control of the ball.
Holy God, that would have been
it came out somehow.
Well, he had the one-hand control, nice swim, and he was able to backpedaling get that one-handed toss off, looking pretty Canadian himself there. And that would have been spectacular if it was off the pipe.
Yeah, and a lot of Concordia's damage has been done in transition so far today. The set defense has actually been pretty quality for Cal State Fullerton.
And about 9.5 minutes to play in this first half. Concordia holding on to that 3-goal lead and then just giving it away.
So after the GB, the Titans moving in transition. That ball was poked down, gave Concordia just enough time to get set up and break up the transition chance.
And Fagan was really walking the tightrope at the midline there. I mean, he was within an inch or 2 of being off sides and giving Fullerton an opportunity at potentially getting a man up. It seems like Concordia is picking and choosing. I mean, they're a lot further out than I think you'd expect. But with this the second line guys in for Fullerton, you see way out. I mean, that's a good 15 yards outside the playing defense.
So it looks like we're going to get a timeout on the field called by Mike Ansel. He didn't like what he was seeing out of his offense in that long-winded possession there. So with 8:14 on the clock, Concordia with a 5-2 lead, but Fullerton with possession and the timeout looking to strike again. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the SLC D2 Championship game on the SLC YouTube channel. SLC D2 Championship game. We're going to throw it down to Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley.
All right, guys, Fullerton calling the timeout right there. Coach Mike Ansel pulling his whole team together and saying, guys, in 7 minutes of play, we have kept Concordia from scoring. That is what happens when we slow the ball down and we keep possession on offense. We're down 3 right now, but let's look to get a goal here on this possession right now. Slow the ball down, possess it, move it around on offense, and find a good look and take it. Let's get a goal here. Let's get back into this game and get it close as we go into halftime. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
Yeah, and clearly this is a big offensive possession for Fullerton. Mike Ansel recognizes that, wanted to talk things over and make sure that he put the right set on the field.
Yeah, and it's even if it's just to give his offense an opportunity to take a quick break. I mean, we're halfway through the second quarter. You get a little bit of a break. You can talk to your guys. You're like, listen, it's like we saw what happened yesterday when UC San Diego came out and was able to hold on to possession and keep Concordia to only one goal over 20 minutes in the second half. I mean, they couldn't score, but they did that through long possessions and making sure that Concordia didn't have the ball on offense. And I think that may be why Concordia is playing a lot more pressure on the defensive side of the ball. So you see them now pressing all the adjacents.
Very aggressive defensive package. So far it's been paying off for Concordia, who fielded a shutout in yesterday's game against UCSD, and so far they've been looking pretty quality against a Fullerton team that had 21 goals in that semifinal against NAU. Titans making sure everyone gets a touch here. Still waiting for something to develop now. Kowalski with a chance up top. Now Cole takes the rip, but it's a bit of a bad angle.
And that's a solid. You see, they switched the offensive setup and coming through those picks. You have to think maybe you want to see him take that shot a little sooner, since he's his angle is decreasing every step he takes, or potentially go to the BTB there.
.6:45 left in the second quarter. So far the half has gone Concordia's way, but actually Concordia yet to score in the second quarter. It's really just been that one Fullerton goal that we saw.
Looks like Simpson likes this matchup. We've seen them go into this invert set a number of times this season. And watch for the cutters coming through. You see Chris Cole come off a pick. Michael Willis as well. There it is. And they got to stop this before it gets to the half.
And it crosses over. So Concordia has maybe some numbers, maybe a chance to do something. Instead, they're going to slow things up as we hit the 6-minute mark.
I got a tweet coming in from Wookie124 wanting to know about as Matranga takes it in, wanting to know about the wave off. And there are a few penalties, all the technical penalties, all the 30-second penalties. If you score, it's like a free possession. If you score the goal, then it gets waved off. It's the more serious penalties, the unnecessary roughness, some of the slashes, some of the things that happen after the goal is scored, where the penalty will stay, and you'll have to serve that in addition to giving up the goal. But that one, 30-second technical for push with possession, gets waved off when there's a goal. So, great question.
And keep your questions coming at Trey Lanthier, at CMarshallTLN, and tweet your player of the game votes to Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley at Margot McCauley. Another failed Concordia possession, and Fullerton has been controlling time of possession. That's something we saw yesterday as well in Concordia's game against UC San Diego, was being on defense for a long duration of the game, especially these long periods of time. And when you're playing this aggressive style, you have to imagine that's going to wear down on you over the course of a game.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, they only have 5 or 6 field players suited up that can come in. I mean, you see, the numbers on the sideline there, but they have 4 goalies listed. So, those guys aren't going to be able to come in the game.
And it looks like it's going to be a crease violation before the shot got off.
Great handle by Romero. This is trouble.
And Matranga was forced outside. That was a good job by the defense to pinch him off. And now
Matsumoto,
the near side, just going to be a GB pickup. So Concordia has a chance to maybe catch their breath a little bit here. But with the pace they've been playing out on the offensive side, it'd be surprising. Seems like they want to just keep attacking and keep the defense on their toes.
Got a great question coming in from Troy Carlson 1, who are the last 4 in, last 4 out. And Troy Carlson, of course, the goalie for San Diego State.
Yeah, it's a tough question, given that, I mean, there's last 4 in, last 4 out, usually an NCAA tournament thing when there's 64 teams to talk about. Here, I would say it's more like last 2 in, last 2 out, just given the fact that I'm not sure, you can go 4 teams deep outside of the tournament field and still have teams worthy of a tournament conversation. But looking at the last 2 teams in, I mean, it's tough because after that Sonoma State loss, there's a pretty good chance that Colorado State is right back in that conversation. I say it because I'm not a fan of seeing a potential 8-loss team in the tournament, but who else are you going to look to?
It's tough. I mean, I think Sonoma State played themselves out yesterday, and now are one of the last 2 out. And I mean, I think the last 2 in for me right now are San Diego State and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think San Diego State is pretty comfortably in there. I think the last 2, yes, I agree with Georgia Tech, and then it's going to come down to whether or not the selection committee favors Colorado State or U of A is the other team that still in that conversation. The biggest issue that U of A is going to run into is the way they ended the season. You lose 4 games down the stretch in a row without making your conference tournament. It's hard to make a case for that to be in the MCLA tournament field.
I think U of A's out. But there's the goal coming around the corner. Is Dylan Bernad. He's able to get one on a nice individual move, unassisted.
Yeah, and I mean, he decided to go low with it. I thought he might turn around with a question mark play, but instead decides to keep it as low as possible, and it got right past Loreno, who is currently talking over with his D-poles after that last play. Concordia goes up 6-2 with 1:52 left in the first half.
Yeah, but back to what we were saying. I mean, I just don't think that – I mean, if it comes down to I just don't think if it comes down to Arizona and Colorado State for that last spot that you can give it to Arizona over Colorado State, even though they have more losses. But and if you don't make the conference tournament, it's hard. It's hard to justify.
Absolutely. And I mean, Colorado State, while they do have some bad losses, they've also got a lot of good wins. You mentioned the Chapman win, but the BYU win, I think, is also worth mentioning and talking about, especially now that we saw BYU run to the conference championship game, and BYU could very well be. I currently have BYU slated as a 6 seed, but I mean, those could play out either way. BYU is a tournament team that they were able to beat as a shot taken on Cook. With the stop, this one still loose in front of the cage.
I mean, one thing that's fair to mention about that Davenport loss too is that it was a 2 games in 2 days, and they had a 7 p.m. game that they won, a 9-8 game, which I believe was an overtime game with Michigan State, and then had to turn around and play a 2 o'clock game against Davenport that next day. I mean, that's something you have to think about if you're on the selection committee.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As
you can't let Matronga get in that close.
No, and I think the defense didn't respond soon enough, and Matronga goes high with it, gets past Lorino. There's nothing much you can really do.
Yeah, it's Matronga's just got a cannon, and he's one of those guys. Everyone expects us to be so attack driven because the attack has 200 points on the season, and he comes in, and there's so much respect for the attack that there's no slide coming up, and he gets inside of 8 yards, and he really lifts the cage off the ground. But again, Concordia.
So Concordia gets themselves on the board once more. They're up 7-2. There's only 15 seconds left in this second quarter. We'll see if Cal State Fullerton can put something together in essentially desperation time as far as the end of this half goes. 7 seconds on the clock after that missed shot. The feed doesn't connect. It'll stay on the ground. I don't think they're going to get a shot off, and they won't. Brings the quarter to a close. There are 2 bodies on the ground right now. A bit of a tussle after the play. Kowalski wants a call. Bring us to halftime. Concordia up 7-2 over Cal State Fullerton in a very chippy game in this SLC Division II championship.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what we expected. In Concordia, traveling pretty well, just down the road, 5 or 6 miles into Irvine, and we see both these teams coming across the field, going to duck into the locker room to take advantage of some of the facilities here. But I mean, there's no love lost. I mean, these teams, you see Coach Ansel talking to the officials too. He didn't like what he was seeing in the
I don't think
extracurriculars
either
afterwards.
coach did. As it looks like we've got sideline reporter Margo McCauley standing by, and we're going to hear from head coach Ryan Brent at Concordia. Margo.
All right, Coach, I know emotions running high right now, but you're up 5 at the half. How are you feeling going into the break?
I would be feeling a lot better if we stayed a little bit more composed there. We knew this was going to happen. This is, we knew they were going to get chippy with us. We knew they were going to punch us in the mouth. We knew they were going to talk after the play. And, from the opening whistle, we didn't do a good job of that. So, we got to address that because the only way we let them back into this game is by playing stupid. And, so can't do that.
All right, Coach, I know you got a lot to say to your team. I'll let you get over there right away. Guys, tweet me your players of the game. Sorry I couldn't keep him for long. He was definitely fired up right there. A lot of emotions out here. Might look like Fullerton is not really in this game, but, from that interview, you can see that they're still pretty worried. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
So that will bring us to the halftime break. We're going to step away, but in about 9 minutes, we'll be back with the second half of action between Concordia and Fullerton. At half, Concordia up 7-2. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the SLC Division II Championship right here on the SLC YouTube channel.
Hey guys, it's Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley. The MCLA Championships.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
To not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back into Orange, California. We're here with the SLC D2 Championship. We're going to go down to Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley, who's standing by with Coach Mike Ansel.
All right, down 5 at the half. What adjustments do you need to make to get back in this game?
Just slow the ball down. We're not a transition-based team, and they are. So when we try to run and gun with them, it just doesn't work. We've had a couple good looks, and a couple things have gone their way. If we play like we did in the second quarter, which was 2-1 them, even giving up just a couple of transition goals again, I think we'll be fine. We instilled that in their head. So hope for the best. I know we have the kids to do it. It's just a matter of executing it or not.
You guys have been here before in this position, in this huge championship game. Who do you look to build your team and kind of take this game into their hands and step up for you guys?
Yeah, I think senior Chris Cole. He had a lot to say at halftime. I think you look for him to do a lot in the second half. He's just play smart lacrosse, just not try to do too much, and I think we'll be good from there.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
So there you have it, Chris Cole, the player to look at in this second half, according to head coach Mike Ansel of Cal State Fullerton. But it's going to need to be more than just Chris Cole to overcome a 5-goal halftime deficit.
And that's what they're going to need to do. They're going to have to rely on their big guns. I mean, you need Chris Cole. He's been there before. He was on some of the teams that beat Concordia when they were having those epic battles. And it's Kowalski's got to step up. Michael Willis has got to step up, and they got to go out. And for a team that scores nearly 17 goals a game, 2 isn't going to cut it in the first half.
Yeah, so we're gonna see whether or not Fullerton throws any different looks out there to try and get past this stifling Concordia defense, and that's one of the more surprising things I think we've noticed over the course of this tournament, Chris, is the fact that Concordia, while they have a lot of offensive talent, has been stellar on the defensive side.
Yeah, Concordia, and I think it's that extra pressure that's really giving Fullerton some trouble. I think that they weren't expecting it, and they're certainly not used to it. Most teams, especially teams as small as Concordia, don't play that.
So the opening face-off goes to Fullerton, something we didn't see too much of in the first half. As Simpson really kind of just a do-it-all type of player. We see Simpson on the defensive side. We see him at the top on the offense. We've seen him behind the cage and in the face-off X. Pretty much anywhere you can be on the field, Simpson's been there.
Yeah, and I like that he pulled that out too. It's he could have taken the shot. He had a lane and some time and space to shoot, but if they want to win this game, they have to control possession, and they need to do a better job of that in the second half. Make sure to keep those tweets coming our way at CMarshallTLN, at Trey Lanthier. Love to hear from you.
On the far side, Willis had it for a moment now. The pass up top is on the ground. So Concordia with another turnover on the defensive side. And the most important part of the turnover for them is moving it back in transition right away.
Matranga now with it up top.
And Matranga doesn't really get the same level of respect. I mean, you mentioned how teams are going to focus on the attack for this Concordia team as we see Bernay lose track of the ball down along the end line. I mean, that's and I'm not sure that the pass was a great one to begin with from Fagan. But turnovers like that are ones that Fullerton has to take advantage of.
See, Willis comes up and all the way up to the midline to get that ball.
Wookie124 tweets in, can I give a shout-out to goalie Troy Carlson and the Mole Squad? And I got to say, we've got a lot of tweets for the Mole Squad. This one picked out of the sky, burning past a defender and getting to the cage.
Yeah. He's a guy, it's got a ton of points on this. He's got 40 points on the season, 25 assists, 15, 16 now goals. And he's going to need to step up too. So the junior midi dodging from X gets in there and scores the goal.
Well, and that's an example of how that pressure defense can come back to bite you. You got to be reacting immediately, and the defender bit on him, and he ends up coming back the other way. So deficit could quickly find its way in the opposite direction.
Simpson with time and space, takes the shot.
Yeah, and Simpson did have a lane there, and I think, because it was backed up, it's a good look. Micah Willis was there for it.
Cole now going to the shorty. This is a favorable matchup.
And Cole's the guy that Coach was calling out to really step up in this half.
And see the pressure really making these guys think about what they're going to do, as Cole went to the skip pass on the last time around rather than going through Kowalski because of that pressure on the adjacent.
And we've got Simpson in the middle, Cole out up top. But no real opportunity shaping up here. So Fullerton now losing track of the ball was Purpura as it was on the ground for just a moment, stayed there for maybe a moment longer than he wanted it to, and it was scooped up by Concordia. However, a push will give the ball back
and
to Fullerton.
That's just a mental mistake by Nick Adam. If the player is on the ground, you can't touch him, and that's why he gets called for the hold. I mean, they're going to call that every time, and it's maybe he lost his footing or whatever. And there's a great move by Kowalski as he turns the corner and scores the low angle goal.
Well, and to do that from GLE, I mean, the angle was not at all ideal, and I don't think Cody Cook even had a chance to make the save on a tough angle shot. A beautiful goal-scoring effort coming from around behind the net. And now Fullerton, with some momentum behind him, have cut this down to a 3-goal deficit.
And this
And so, with a 7-4 lead, Concordia doesn't look as comfortable as they were a few minutes ago, and a lot of that's been due to Cal State Fullerton dominating the time of possession. They won another draw there to give them a chance to cut this back down to a 2-goal deficit and give them a lot more wind at their backs.
Yeah, they've certainly made some adjustments at halftime at the face-off X, and it's paying off.
Cole got an opening, but Cook was there to save it. Now the ball's still loose. It's Cook who comes up with it. Concordia has a chance in transition here. They have been deadly in this type of game earlier in this one. But
and that's great pressure from the freshman Taylor Johnson as he's all over the hands of Seguin and able to disrupt that pass enough to where it goes out of bounds and they get a turnover. Loreno just taking his time.
Yeah, an interesting look in the clear right now as a stick is on the ground. Fullerton fortunate still to come up with the ball as got a lot of bodies going back and forth. It's going to be a push going against Concordia.
And again, more extracurriculars coming from Concordia. I mean, they've got to be more composed in those dead ball situations. They're going for the hits. And they're getting the hits. That's a great handle. But they got to be smart and not get those change of possession penalties.
Tammy Haberly tweeting in says, give a loud shout out to Cody Cook's family watching from Arizona. So proud of the Concordia boys. as those Concordia boys in turning into a game of a tussle right now with Fullerton. But they've certainly had a great season, 16-0 coming into this game. You don't get there without talent, and especially when you look at the depth, or the lack of depth, I guess I should say, that they have on their bench. This is a team that relies pretty much exclusively on its starters to get the job done, and they've been doing it game in, game out.
It's got a tweet coming in from Lindsay Heather. Wants to know who wins the GCU ASU game and what the final score will be.
That's it's a fair question. I think, I've seen ASU play in every game they played this season, and I like what I've seen from ASU. I think that they're a quality team, and this, making it to the D1 SLC championship game is a huge mark for Joe Thone in his first year with the team. But GCU is probably the most talented team in the country. I have trouble seeing ASU being able to overwhelm that. And it's a boring pick. I mean, it's chalk, but
yeah, I like GCU 13-8.
And I was going to say 13-10. So,
well,
I guess we'll see.
Well,
I guess we'll see. Hey,
mine's better than yours.
We're going to come back and check that. Lindsay, please hold us accountable for that.
We got another call, 16-14 coming from the old peanut gallery here in the Subway Skybox.
I don't think that counts. I don't know if we can count that in there.
But yeah, if you guys have predictions for that game, let us know. I mean, Cody Cook is playing great right now. He took one right off the knee on the previous shot, and he's staying tough right now.
Yeah, and it's this is a team that's going to take some very hard shots when they get open. As we see another one. This one goes 5-hole. I believe it ricocheted out of the cage, but it hit the back of the net first. So that goal coming from Purpura, who somehow saw a lane that nobody else did and was able to go 5-hole on Cody Cook with a ball that went so hard into the net that it bounced back onto the field. 7-5 the score. Concordia still in the lead, but it's Fullerton who has scored 3 straight goals to start off this second half.
Concordia is still yet to have an offensive possession here in this. And that's gonna be a hold. It's close. You think maybe you're gonna get the playing without the stick there, but getting the hold as Concordia player had a pretty good grip on that stick.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of these 50-50 calls have been going Fullerton's way. They've been capitalizing so far in this third quarter. Ball loose on the ground, and it's so amazing how fast Concordia can turn the other way once they come up with possession. As we've got a chance forming on the other side, Fullerton was able to stop that transition opportunity. And it looks like we're going to get a timeout for Concordia. I think that's a pretty heads-up call from Ryan Brent. Things are looking a little crazy out there.
And it looked like Kowalski did try to do this little kind of drop move by the box and get the ball to Cole. It was just unnecessary. He could have run away from the defender there, turned around, and then passed it back. Tried to get too cute, and it cost him a possession. I mean, it's like you can't give away possessions like that in a game where you've got all the momentum and it's a 2-goal game. And I mean, that's a mental mistake that could come back to bite him.
So teams will head to their respective huddles. We're going to call it to a break. When we come back in just a moment, Concordia up 7-5. Actually, we're going down to Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley, who's going to give us an update on that Concordia huddle.
All right, listening into the Concordia huddle right there, they called the timeout. Coach Brent saying to his team, guys, right there, Fullerton stole the momentum off the half, and we can get it back right now, but we need to take a break and play smart lacrosse. We are throwing the ball around everywhere on the field, and we need to play smart lacrosse. What can we do to get this game back in our hands? We can play smart lacrosse. I can't tell you how many times he said it, probably 3 or 4 as many times as I've said it, but he said possess the ball, look for the opening on offense, and let's get ourselves on the board here. Let's get the momentum back in our way, and let's get this game in our hands. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
I thought she was going to say Cray and Triss, which would be an interesting twist on our names. I mean, we could do that. We could switch up.
Probably.
If you want to give me your Briss, I'll give you the Ray.
Interesting thing.
I'll
ever.
be Triss.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
Always interesting thoughts, but no, that huddle. What Ryan Brent's saying, playing smart lacrosse. Honestly, I don't really know that it's been that many mental errors from Concordia as it has been Cal State Fullerton capitalizing on the opportunities they've been given. This half hasn't looked drastically different for Concordia than the first half did. The only difference is those transition chances aren't shaping up because Fullerton's getting back in time.
Well, I mean, they're controlling possession. This is the first settled possession that we've really seen. And there you go. They score a goal right away. But this is the first settled possession. But, I mean, Logan Warren it took like 4 steps. There's nobody coming to him. And you think coming out of a timeout that Fullerton's got to be more prepared defensively.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of this is just a team that has so much talent on its offensive side coming out with a smart play call. It's hard to stop. It's hard to stop coming out of a timeout. So Concordia gets on the board for the first time in this half. It's now an 8-5 game. Fullerton is right back in it. They got themselves back into the conversation with that late run in the start of this third quarter, but now it's going to be a question of if they can keep that momentum flowing their way now that Concordia has gotten on the board too.
Simpson able to win the clamp. Let's see if Kowalski can run this down. And that's a great play. Just gets it right over to Simpson. Keeps his head up. Right off the far pipe. What a finish by Perpur. That's 2 in a row for the freshman.
Yeah, and I mean, Perpur was positioned in the right place at the right time. He was able to get it past Cook. And now we're starting to see a glimpse of that shootout that we were expecting coming into this one. The score 8-6, Concordia in the lead, but Fullerton's been knocking at the door. They've had an answer for everything that the Eagles have thrown their way so far in this half. It's just a question of if they can overcome that 5-goal deficit from the first half.
Yeah, I got another tweet coming in. This one from Cody Coretta, seeing a comeback here for the boys. Hashtag Go Titans. Hashtag Proud Alum. One of the line of athletic LSMs from Fullerton. And then also had a tweet coming in from Keith Coretta. And if you've played lacrosse in Southern California, you've certainly heard the voice at the playoffs and tournaments. So he'll be here for the MCLA tournament as well.
Now I've got a tweet coming in. As I have my own fan base, Chris, I have my own people who tweet at me. Dave Montgomery tweets in, Fullerton is amping up their game. Will they stay on the face-off? And I think that's a fair question because of how well they've been playing on the face-off this half. But it wasn't there in the first half. I'm not sure where that came from. But clearly, whatever shift was made has been paying off big time for them.
I mean, they're controlling possession. And that was exactly what we talked about. They've tightened up a little bit on defense. But it's like, if you don't need to play defense, then you don't need to worry about them scoring goals. And I think that's been the big difference.
Another chance for Concordia is stopped short by this feisty Fullerton defense. It's been standing its ground. As of recently, Loreno has it.
And you see Fagan took a golf swing at it. And anything that gets it in the back of the net is fair game. I mean, I've been a part of some goals that were kicked in. That was late. As a 6 again, fortunate not to draw a flag there. But just a 2-goal game coming in on the 4-minute mark in this third quarter.
And Fullerton with possession again. But really, I think a lot of their momentum has been coming on the defensive side. Coming up with these stops against such a talented team can give you so much energy heading back the other direction.
Again, taking some of the air out of the ball, slowing this possession down.
Core with a nice pass to Cole. What a save from Cook.
Nice ground ball inside.
Up top, Simpson had time. Cook was able to get to it. And it's going to be Concordia ball. Matranga brings it across the midfield line. He takes a tumble. No call on this one. There is a call on the near side. It's going to be a push.
You see a flag down coming from the far side. Didn't look like the official on the near side had the call.
2-0, push. 30 seconds. Gray, 20. Push for 30.
And that's going to be a man-up opportunity for Concordia for 30 seconds.
So a big chance for Concordia right here in the man up. A quick shot taken on from the outside, and man back for it. And they're not afraid to shoot early in the clock. Is Matranga another one?
Well, they're giving him space. They went to that same look twice. They got to be aware of that. I mean, you have to think you want to skew more towards Matranga than Romero, who's the other shooter up top. I think Matranga more dangerous inside. There's Fagan with the low-to-low.
What's most amazing about Josh Fagan's low-to-low looks is that they come from almost that same spot on the field every time, which is traditionally a bad angle shot. That's not a place where you want to see your shooters taking shots like that, but Fagan has made it his holy sacred ground, and he can make a shot against any goalie in the country. Loreno didn't have a chance there. So after a face-off win, Fullerton has Cole inside. Did he get past Cook? No.
He's sitting on it.
Somehow stopped that one at the last moment by dropping his body on top of it. Do whatever you got to do to prevent that ball from getting across.
It's a hockey save.
Yeah. You know, I never understood, Chris. Where does the term "standing on his head" come from? Has
Science.
any goalie ever stood on his head?
Science, man.
That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't have
Please,
to make
if
sense.
you know the answer
It's
to
provocative, gets the people going.
To goalies standing on their head, if there has ever been a documented incident of a goalie standing on his head or her head, please tweet it and let us know. That's the pressing question of the day. Concordia with a 9-6 lead at the 1:30 mark, looking to re-extend the lead to 4 goals with possession right now. They've put a dent in this Fullerton momentum as of recently, and all came together on that Josh Fagan man-up chance. Now the question mark try, maybe a bit too early on that shot. However, it's going to stay with the Eagles. An update in the WCLL D2 championship game. Sierra Nevada up 9-4 over Nevada. And Sierra Nevada, a team that was scheduled to play against both Concordia and Cal State Fullerton, they did play against Concordia and actually played Concordia to the closest game they have played all year against a D2 opponent. That one ended 10-7. But against Fullerton, they actually didn't end up playing that game. They headed up there. They were planning on playing, and there was no field available. And Mike Ansel was panicking, trying to figure out how to arrange for that. And so that game never ended up getting played, which is interesting given the fact that Sierra Nevada is considered one of the most underrated teams heading into the tournament. Nobody's seen them play anybody great except Concordia, and they held them they played to a 3-goal game. 30 seconds on the board. Concordia looking for a last-second opportunity here to end out the third quarter. A man is stuffed down low in front of the crease, and there's going to be a flag down.
It's going to be a cross-check. It was that second one. The first one was a clean hit, but he came up again. He was a little high. Got to keep your hands together. Interesting to see what Concordia tries to do. I bet that they'll go to a quick shot and then hold on to the ball so that they can have possession to start the fourth quarter.
A 3-goal lead for Concordia in this SLC Division II championship game. Remember, we've also got the D1 championship coming up right after this game and the award ceremony that'll follow this game. So you don't want to miss any of that. 10 seconds on the clock, and it looks like you're absolutely correct on this one, Chris, as they're going to hold out to have possession to start out the fourth quarter. And so that will bring the third quarter to a close. 9-6, the lead for Concordia over Fullerton. But Fullerton fought their way back into this game. And at times it looked like they were going to be able to make the full-fledged comeback. So this fourth quarter has gotten a lot more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is it's a close game, 3-goal game. Both these teams are capable of scoring 3 goals in a minute. So certainly far from over.
Tweet coming in from Ashley Cook. Shout out to my brother Cody Cook. He's making his family very proud. Hashtag Canadians. And you know, hashtag Canadians, it's something we've seen from Concordia all year. A lot of Canadian talent on this roster. It's also something that you'll see in the next game, the D1 championship, as GCU rosters a lot of Canadian products. Yeah. So heading into this fourth quarter, the Eagles have a 3-goal lead. But Fullerton is clearly putting something together here. The winner of this game will take the automatic qualifier in the SLC. The loser will enter an at-large race that's gotten pretty vicious. And it looks like we've got a sideline report coming from our Under Armour sideline reporter, Margot McCauley, who's standing by. Margot.
All right, guys, at the break, listening into both huddles, I heard on the Concordia side the coach saying, all right, guys, we got the momentum back a little bit. We stopped them from scoring in the end of that third quarter, but right now this is where we can break them. This is where we can come out strong and get a point on the board and just take this game in our own hands and run away with it. On the Fullerton side, they were a little bit concerned with the penalty and what was going on. He's focused mostly on getting his offense going and getting a goal here quick off the jump. We've still got a lot of lacrosse left to play, 15 minutes. I'm excited to see how this one goes. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. 15 minutes away from an exciting finish in regulation here. We got a tweet coming in to answer our question, or my question, I guess, posed from earlier about goalies and standing on their heads. NHL President Frank Calder, alluding to the 1918 rules change that permitted goalies to fall down to make a save, remarked they could stand on their head if they wanted to. I don't know how true that is. I assume it must be. I mean, it looks legit.
It's on the internet.
Seems legit. It's on the internet. Looks legit. Thanks, Dave Montgomery, for tweeting that one in. As Concordia dealing with the man up here. Fagan again with the rip. And I'm surprised that one didn't get through. It looked good, but instead ends up going out of play, but it's backed up by Seguin.
Yeah, Lorino never saw it.
Now we're going to see Bernay lot of players getting in touch, moving the ball fast again. Fakes out Lorino, waited for just long enough till his toes were on the edge of the crease and buries it in the back of the net.
And that's exactly how you want to start the quarter if you're Concordia. Going out, pushing the lead to 4, scoring, needing only 34 seconds to get on the board.
A reminder to tweet in at us at Trey Lanthier, at CMarshallTLN. You can also tweet in at our Under Armour sideline reporter, Margot McCauley, at Margot McCauley, for our player of the game. So Concordia winning the draw after reclaiming a 4-goal lead. And this is really kind of danger zone for Fullerton. They can't let Concordia start to run away here.
Yeah, I mean, Concordia is certainly capable of doing that. I mean, they need to keep it close. Keep it within 3 or 4 goals. It gets to 5, it starts feeling like it's getting away.
.13:40 on the clock here in the 4th quarter. Winner of this game takes the AQ. They'll head into the MCLA tournament officially, whereas the loser will be entered into that at-large race. And that's going to be interesting. Tonight is Selection Sunday. We're going to get to see each field listed out. You can follow at MCLA on Twitter. They'll be tweeting out the results of selection committee's decisions later tonight. This one is lost in front of the cage, and I think someone fell into the crease, maybe pushed in though, and they are going to say he pushed into the crease. Seguin.
That was Silverberg on the push. You got to be smarter than that. I mean, it's totally unnecessary. Cost your team possession.
A nice bounce shot after spinning out a defender, but Romero's try ends up out of bounds.
Definitely make sure to send us your tweets at CMarshallTLN, at Trey Lanthier, at Margot McCauley for the player of the game. But as well as any other questions, comments you might have, love to hear from you.
.10-6 to score. And an interesting note about this weekend in this tournament has been, especially on the D2 side, the lack of timer on calls. I don't think we've seen many timer on calls at all, despite some pretty lengthy possessions. As a one-handed wraparound try from Josh Fagan ends up in Lorino's stick. But you got to give him credit for creativity.
Maybe a little bit of an ambitious clear try there for Fullerton.
And right back the other way. Fagan scoops up the GB, quickly takes the shot with an opening. And of course, it's a no-brainer. 11-6, Concordia up.
And that's the lack of communication between Lorino and Silverberg. They were both going for that same ball. Silverberg opted to pick it up. I mean, you'd have to think Lorino's the one who you're going to want handling the ball there. He's the one that's got the vision of what's coming towards him on the field, and he's shown that he's been able to pick up the ground balls. You know, Silverberg was unable to get the ground ball. Fagan came in, and Lorino was not set.
So in addition to our SLC Player of the Game in our post-game coverage, we're also going to be naming an SLC Player of the Tournament. So please submit your votes for both of those at Margot McCauley. 11 minutes, 30 seconds remain in regulation here. Concordia has been very solid to start out this 4th quarter, especially
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
Not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
All right, guys, listening in there to the Fullerton side, their coach said, guys, for the last 5 minutes, we have played nothing but defense. We need to change that right here and get on the board. We need to get the ball into the back of the net for us right here on the board if we're going to have a chance to compete and win this game. Guys, tweet me your player of the game and player of the tournament so I can get them for a post-game.
To 7 in that conference championship game. And that's actually a big result for both of these teams, having beaten Western Washington over the course of the season. You always want to see the teams you beat do well.
Absolutely. It goes back to that, quality wins, quality losses conversation.
Yeah, honestly, I guess you want to see anybody you played, period, play well. It can only make your loss or win look better. 11-6 to score. Concordia is up. We saw Fullerton go on a run in that third quarter. Cole tries to restart a run here, but he misses the mark. However, it'll stay with Fullerton.
Closing in on 8 minutes.
Yeah, and Concordia has so far played a pretty quality game. They've been able to stave off any comeback effort that Fullerton has tried to throw their way. But as we get into crunch time, expect the Titans to try out some new things. They've got a lot of talent to work with on the offensive side. As we see Simpson, Kowalski getting touches. Simpson blows past his man, Cook with a save again.
Well, it's going low again. We just talked about that on the last shot. Everything they've shot, it feels like this quarter has gone low, and Cook's been eating it up. And Concordia is really winning the ground ball battle right now. That's a great heads-up timeout call by Coach Brent. And he saw the pressure coming. He could clearly see that Bernay wasn't going to feel that defender come on, and made the call before he was able to knock the ball out of his stick.
So 11-6, the lead for Concordia. 7:26 on the clock. We're going to take it to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the end of the fourth quarter for you, as well as the post-game coverage. You're watching the SLC D2 championship game. And we're back here in Chapman Stadium. We're going to go down to our Under Armour sideline reporter, Margot McCauley, for an update from that timeout huddle. Margot, what do you have for us?
Listening in there to the Concordia huddle, right away the coach pulled his goalie in and said, I love you right now. You're making a ton of big saves, and you're a handsome devil. Not sure what that means coming from the coach, but he is in great spirits right now. He is happy with his team's play right now, and he said for these last 7 minutes, nobody better look tired out there. You better be hustling, and you better be playing smart lacrosse. We can win this game. The game is in our hands, and really, if we lose this game, it's because we threw it away right here, right now. I need your best. So look for them to come out here, play sharp, play smart lacrosse, and guys, tweet me your players of the game, your players of the tournament. I got a couple tweets coming in, and I got 2 guys in mind, but keep sending me the tweets. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
All right, thanks so much for the sideline report, Margot. Talking about how Cody Cook getting some praise from the coaching staff, and for good reason. I mean, that guy has been playing. I mean, I have him in mind as either the player of the game or the tournament, or player of the game or the player of the tournament. He could be fitting into either one of those roles right now.
Yeah, he's having a great game. He's definitely, keeping Concordia out in terms of the score. Out in front.
And it's going to be interesting to see if Concordia starts to try and draw out some clock. It's not really their style, but right now, with the score the way it is, with the amount of respect they have for Fullerton on the offensive side, I wouldn't be surprised if they do slow things up a little bit here and at least wait for a timer on call.
It's just not how Concordia plays. That's probably the right thing to do. But, they've got so many solid options. That's a great check.
And Fagan is just protecting this ball with his life, basically, as it's going to stay with Concordia, trying to keep it in along the sideline with Bernay. But it ends up out of bounds, so Fullerton not in desperation mode yet, but 5 goals in 6.5 minutes is not an easy feat. So we'll see if they can make something happen. Lorino tried for the very aggressive, deep, clear pass, and I think it's the right idea.
Well, we've seen that. Fullerton just isn't valuing possessions in the fourth quarter. I know you got to try and make something happen at the end of the fourth. You just can't stand there for the last couple rounds and take the loss like a Manny Pacquiao type. But you got to make sure you're valuing the possessions. You can't give away any cheap ones.
It's a question that everyone has to look at themselves and they say, do I want to be Money Mayweather Pacquiao or Money Mayweather Floyd Mayweather?
Let's just stop that there.
Pacquiao.
We'll just get back to the action here, Trey.
It's. For those of you who did watch the fight, feel free to tweet in your analogies to tie to this game. But Fullerton still has a shot here. 5.5 minutes to play. Core from behind the net. A nice pass, and the shot stuffed by Cook. What a save.
That's a fantastic save. It's a great reaction save. He's in great position. It doesn't get much better than that. And then you see Kowalski able to win the ground ball battle there, but it looks like Matranga got a lift in there last minute, disrupted the shot, and then nobody behind the cage to back that up.
So we are under 5 to play now. Still a 5-goal lead for the Eagles. They're up 11-6. Fagan was cutting inside. The pass was there for him, but he couldn't quite hold on to it. And it'll be Fullerton ball again, but that ride continues to be so aggressive.
I mean, you get Thalen back. That's what's been working for Fullerton. You got to bring your shorties down, get the ball, and not try and force those balls in across the midline. You have the athletes. I mean, you got Kowalski, you got Simpson, you got Thalen, guys, Chris Cole, guys who can beat players one-on-one, can beat attackmen to the midline for sure. And I think they needed to get back to that earlier in this fourth quarter, rather than trying to find those those passes all the way down the field. But Cook is just really dialed in. He was tracking that one well too.
We're under 4 to play. Core finds Cole, who has that defense swarm in on him, and that's really been the case all game long. There hasn't been much developing up the middle. That ball came free, and it's now with Concordia again.
Cook's got to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, Fagan came all the way out trying to play that GB, and now he's still in the scrum. There's an empty net. If somehow Fullerton comes up with this ball, but we do see Fagan Cook get back into position. Trailing by 5 goals. I'm surprised we're not seeing a stronger sense of urgency.
You need to get something going. And Simpson's been the guy who's been able to get free on the dodge.
Kowalski gets an opening, however, he turned a bit too hard on that shot.
Well, you see, and it's the pressure. It's the pressure coming on the slide that really disrupted that shot. It took away the angle because the defensive player was in the way. And then Simpson tries the same play. Got to be careful there, as Core was able to run backwards and back that up. But had Cook recognized that there was no one behind him, he might have been able to get out of the cage and get that too.
.230 left in the SLC Division II championship game. A BTB try from Kowalski.
That's a good effort. I mean, he improved his angle with that behind the back shot. Gets to keep it in his strong left hand.
Cole tries to go high, but he misses the mark. So, Fullerton getting some quality looks, but nothing getting past Cook as of late.
Coach Ansel wants to talk it over.
Yeah, he's going to call a timeout here. And, at this point, 5 goals in 2 minutes. I'm sure it's happened before. But it's going to be extremely challenging against this Concordia defensive unit that has looked so dominant over their last stretch of games.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're undefeated. I mean, they've looked good all season, and I mean they're just trying to cap off this regular season run and try and lock up that number 2 seed, and I mean that'll really put them in a pretty favorable position in the.
Go to the tournament and play against North Dakota State. But we're going to go down to the sideline for Under Armour sideline reporter Margot McCauley. Margot, what do you have for us?
Fullerton calling the timeout there. Coach Mike Ansel pulling his team together and saying, guys, this is the time we need to score. We've got just above 2 minutes left to play, and we need to score right now. We cannot possess the ball and move it around and look for something to open up. We need to make something open up. We are still in this game. Lacrosse can change in a matter of seconds. All we need to do is get on the board and get on the board now. They're about to run a play that they have not run all game. It's going to be quick, and they're going to try to get to the goal fast. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
So we're going to get to see a new play here as fast is really exactly what they need at the moment. With only 2 minutes and 7 seconds to work with on the clock, if it's not coming fast, this comeback can't possibly happen.
Yeah, and I mean, strictly from like a logistical standpoint, I mean, you only need 7 seconds to score off the face-off, really. But that's, I mean, you have to go directly down, move quickly, get the shot off quickly, and go. So, I mean, it's certainly possible, but it's a tall order. And that's assuming you win the face-off.
So they're bringing the ball in. Okay, so setting up from the near side.
Looks like they're shutting Kowalski off.
It's going to be Willis who brings it in.
This is too much time.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what we're looking for here, but Cole creates an opening, takes the shot. It's going to go out. However, Kowalski was on the near side for it.
1:42 to play. Kowalski's going to bring it in. He has the shorty. This has to be him here.
Kowalski takes the shot, and that one drove Cook's stick back, but it ends up out of play. 1:30 on the clock now, and we've seen 37 seconds run off since that timeout was called. A couple shots have been taken on, but
nothing on the frame yet.
Kowalski gets past one man and another, takes the shot, but it's off the post. Simpson finds Cole, and it actually looks like that's Core or Purpura who puts it in the back of the net.
I mean, that's interesting look. I mean, you get Simpson, who had it up top, had a much better angle, but sends it one more pass to Purpura. Purpura gets that low to low. I mean, I think the speed of his release is what really helped him there. But again, going low. I mean, if I'm on the sideline and I'm Coach Ansel, I mix it up. I mean, that one went in, but everything else that's gone low in this second half has been a save.
1:08 on the clock. Now a 4-goal game. Fullerton has to win every face-off from here on out. This is going to be Concordia coming up with the GB. And you have to imagine the Eagles are going to slow up this time around, given that there's so little time left for Fullerton to work with. As Robert Romero in the far side corner, getting some pressure, but not enough. So it's looking like Concordia will be the SLC Division II champions this year, taking that automatic qualifier and completing the perfect undefeated season coming into the national tournament.
Yeah, double last 25 seconds.
You know, now they've got a hard road ahead of them, but they have a chance to pull off perfection. It's not something that many teams can ever say. As getting stuffed was Bernay. However, they're going to call a hold.
I don't know if I like that one.
13 seconds left in this game. Concordia will likely just run out the clock and conserve the win. And the game will go final. 11-7. Concordia takes down Cal State Fullerton. This is Concordia's third consecutive SLC title, but this one matters more than any other because now they've got national title hopes.
Absolutely, and I've said this before. I haven't been shy about talking about it. I think that Concordia is a legit contender for the national championship, as long as they can keep the game tight. The game for them was much tighter today than it was yesterday. They a lot fewer penalties, fewer unforced errors, and they were able to come away and get the victory. And if they can play clean games, I think they can play with anyone.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where Concordia lands in seeding. They could be as high as the number 1, could be as low as the number 4 seed, just given how we've seen them fluctuate in the rankings so far this season. But we'll know tonight. Selection Sunday is here. And looking at the Cal State Fullerton side, this is a team that could very well be in the tournament as well. They're going to be in that conversation as a team that only has 2 losses on the year, both of which have come to Concordia. They played a close enough score here to a 4-goal game where you can't say it was a blowout. And so I think that could work in Fullerton's favor as well.
Yeah, and I think they're very much in this game. I think they could have won this game. It's just a matter of execution. They didn't execute down the stretch, and that's where Concordia won the game. They cut it to 2 and played outplayed Concordia in the third quarter, and they just couldn't put the pieces back together in the fourth.
So Concordia, the Division II SLC champions of both the regular season and now the postseason as well. A pretty prestigious honor. This has been a competitive race in the SLC all year long, and one of the more competitive years we've ever seen between Fullerton and Concordia, given that Concordia is now on that national scene where they're at.
Yeah, and Concordia now taking the lead, as they've won 7 of the last 13, had previously been tied, and that makes 3 wins in a row, as Concordia took one from them last season.
So a lot of excitement from the fans who came out here to watch this one, as Concordia getting named the champions. But give credit to Fullerton, played a very hard-fought championship game. They look excellent in that semifinal round yesterday against NAU. They won that one 21-8. And now, obviously, they're going to be biting their nails on Selection Sunday, figuring out where they might go and if they're in the tournament at all. But regardless, a quality season for the Titans.
Yeah, nothing to be disappointed about. I mean, you go out there, play 17 games, you only come away with 2 losses. They're both to the same team, a team that's undefeated. And that's a pretty successful campaign. As we see the players coming over here, getting some love from the fans. Pretty good turnout for 11 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see another quality turnout in the next game, the Division I championship between Arizona State and Grand Canyon. That's actually, both those teams are warming up right now. We're only 40 minutes away from game time there, and Chris, you and I have talked about what a game that could be. It's going to be an exciting one. So even if you're tuning in to watch these D2 teams play, you should also catch the next game, because it could be a great one as well.
Yeah, I mean, it always seems to be. I mean, you get the games in the SLC championship game. I mean, there's so much talent on these SLC teams. It's going to be a war, especially get an in-division rival with Grand Canyon and Arizona State. I mean, those two teams. I mean, they put their hard hats on when they show up to play each other.
And it looks like Coach Brent may be about to get an ice
for the trophy ceremony.
Thank you, Margot. Coach, on behalf of the SLC, congratulations.
It looks like this is about to happen.
Congratulations on the championship. Good luck in the tournament.
Marco McCauley is involved
Ryan
here.
Brett.
I don't know what's going to happen. And they are going over the top. Matt Holman jumps out of the way. As hopefully no equipment took any damage there, but the team totally stoked.
All right, I don't know.
I hope I didn't bust your audio equipment up. Hey, these guys worked so dang hard all year, from the fall all the way through, gentlemen. Or these gentlemen just absolutely killed it. So not our finest performance today, but we earned a win regardless. And we had so many people step up. But I mean, I know you'll probably get to it. But what are we without 25? I mean, he bailed us out time and time again. So. He's the man, and these guys deserve this. So 3 in a row is not so bad.
Looking ahead to the national tournament, what are you guys feeling going into it? How do you prep for that, and what team are you looking forward to most getting a chance to play?
We're just looking forward to being there, to be honest with you. That was our goal at the beginning of the year, right? We're trying to stay, every day at a time. But, I don't care who we draw, to be honest with you. We want to go out there and prove it and make a statement. So we got to play better than we did today, and hopefully we do.
All right, congratulations, Coach. Can I get Cody and Destin? Cody and Destin! guys, I'm here with our player of the game. He had multiple goals today. He's got the trophy with him. Oh, he hands it to Cody. Congratulations. How are you feeling after that win?
Feeling great. We're really fired up. That was a good team effort. Fullerton came out and played an excellent game offensively and defensively, so they really pushed us there, and it's going to get us prepared for nationals.
Any shout-outs you want to give looking up at our camera? Family, friends, girlfriend?
Shout out to everyone in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
2 Canadians up here? Yes, wow, look at that. All right, now we move on to Cody, our player of the tournament. He had an amazing game today, an amazing tournament. How are you feeling right now?
Ecstatic. Feeling good. Can't wait to celebrate with the boys. Going into the national tournament, we're feeling good. Love the crowd, love the boys, love the family. Thank you, everybody. Feels great.
Any specific teammates you want to shout out who maybe helped you out defensively and really made this easy for you?
Every single one of them. Coach and staff right through, every single guy on the bench. Everybody today. We all did it together.
All right, he got a lot of tweets about being a handsome man, so get maybe a close-up on this. Everyone's loving the look. Congratulations, guys. Amazing job this weekend. Back to you, Trey and Chris.
So there you have it. Margot McCauley giving those post-game interviews. But that's going to do it for us from Chapman Stadium. But don't go anywhere, or if you do, don't go anywhere for too long, because in just over half an hour, we've got the Division I championship game coming your way. But that is going to do it for the D2 final. Concordia takes down Fullerton to win the SLC Division II title. Thank you so much for joining us, and for all of us here at the SLC YouTube channel. For Margot McCauley, for Chris Marshall, this is Trey Lanthier signing off.